Hello and welcome to your daily dose of Satoshi's news. Today's date is Tuesday, the 12th of August 2025, the year BSV comes alive. Branch your threads, expand your mind with treechat.ai. All your posts put on chain. Right, let's see what we've got today. We are back in the studio. Gosh, it feels really good to be able to do this and get off my laptop. Oh my goodness me. So anyway, right. We've got Degan here, says, any Baymail me friends in the room? Metanet era is going to be so lit. And that's in response to Project Babbage. So we'll read through that post to find out what's going on. Got some things in my own profile that obviously want to touch on and go over. Particularly, yeah, check at this. Tony saying, I've bought a 65, a genuine Bitcoin. I only need 31.8 to have 100 BSV. 2 days until my 50th birthday. Will I get 100 BSV? That is 100 genuine Bitcoin. That's the equivalent to $10 million. If that was in great coin value right now. Like, whoa. Whoa. So that's exciting. We'll go through this article here. Titled From Revolution to Ratios, How Labour Became the Socialist Pigs. Apparently this guy has liked how the Labour government is acting very similarly to Animal Farm. So we'll have a look at that. We'll have a quick look at the figures, just haven't seen them for a while. Go through some of the exchange 24-hour trade volumes, looks alright. Yeah, have a look at the prices as usual. Got some 365 days of Bitcoin history. And then we'll finish with the Challenge Willa Countdown is back on. Right, let's get into it.
Satoshi, like a cowboy in the West, riding on the blockchain that they call the very best. 1 million strong, them transactions flying free. Just wait for the Terra node, you'll surely see.
Here we go. Right, so Degan says, any Baymail fans in the room? Metanet era is going to be so lit. Alright, and that was in response to Project Babbage saying every user has a notifications message box. When you want your friend to get a notification on their phone, you can send them a message to that box, and the message box server will work with the app to deliver it. But we wanted to add micropayments too. Oh, yeah, that is awesome. That is awesome. So Babbage said, he continued here, can we make a version of a tree trap that uses Metanet desktop and eventually, by extension, Metanet mobile? It's going to be super cool once the push notification stuff is done, so everyone can have BSV apps on their phone and get notified in real time for on-chain actions. Oh wow. The code is being integrated into a message box server, so the notifications will be sent with a Firebase cloud messaging. You can see the corresponding client-side code here. So yeah, just what we just read. Every user has notifications message box. When you want your friend to get a notification on their phone, you can send them a message to that box, and the message box server will work with the app to deliver it. But we want to add micropayments too. So every message box now has a price that the recipient may specify, and every message box server that they are federated, pick one or run it yourself, may charge a micropayment delivery fee for message. The recipient decides how much it costs for each sender to send messages to them via each of their message boxes. By default, this is free for most boxes, but the special notifications box costs a bit. Same for the server on the delivery fee. To send a message, you look on the message box overlay to find which server your recipient's identity keys uses. Then you ask the server for a quote to deliver to the box that you want. If it's reasonable, you pay the receipt and delivery agent, and it's sent off. On the receiver side, you check for notifications, and it auto accepts any payments associated with your incoming notifications. You can register your mobile device, manage the price you charge particular senders, make it free, or block a sender by setting one. That would be great. Imagine all these nuisance calls, and like they have to pay like $10 just to send you a message. I mean, that's what you want. It's like, don't bother me. I live in the private. I'm just in REM jurisdiction. You have no right to contact me in my private home and disturb my peace. Breach the peace. That's what this does. And if you do want to do it, well, you can pay for it. That is a fantastic idea. A fantastic idea. Right, let's get on to some posts here on my profile. Check this out. I love this one from the Illuminati bot. He said he's drinking a cup of tea thinking, should I start speaking out? They said 9/11 was an inside job and all wars are bankers' wars. Police come and arrest them. Dolt. Yeah, that's what's going on at the moment. It's unbelievably corrupt. I liked this one. In 1910, the 6 most powerful men in America vanished. They boarded a private train using fake names and disappeared to a remote island. What they created in total secrecy now controls $30.5 trillion in US money. Here's what happened in that secret meeting held on Jekyll Island. Yeah, look at that. But I don't think or JP Morgan and Rockefeller were actually there, but they had people representing them anyway.
In the decades before the Civil War, the country's banking system was a jumble of local banks, local currency, and conflicting regulations. If you traveled from state to state, you would need to convert your cash to local money. All this confusion helped make Americans feel like they weren't part of a truly unified nation. In the decades before
A series of financial panics, culminating in the Panic of 1907, prompted Congress to undertake a series of steps toward reforming the nation's monetary system to promote macroeconomic stabilization. Congress passed the Aldrich-Vreeland Act in 1908, establishing an 18-member National Monetary Commission chaired by Rhode Island Senator Nelson Aldrich. The commission was charged with finding a way to reform the nation's monetary system, but progress was slow, and by 1910, the commission could not agree on a plan. Aldrich took matters into his own hands, meeting with a group of bankers on Jekyll to formulate a plan. The group included bankers Paul Warburg, Henry Davidson, and Frank Vanderlip. Also present were Aldrich's secretary, Arthur Shelton, and A. Piet Andrew, a Treasury official. Warburg's attendance was critical because of his knowledge of European banking practices. Aldrich was well aware that his meeting with bankers outside of the commission proceedings would generate controversy, which is why the group met at the remote Jekyll Island location.
JP Morgan. In 1910, Morgan devised another secretive plot, one that would also involve the most powerful bankers at the time, but was even more consequential. One that inspired the very book Mr. Griffin authored.
This is what they had planned. It was done in the privacy of a private club, island in Georgia called Jekyll Island, which is why I titled the book The Creature from Jekyll Island.
What emerged from the Jekyll meeting was
Amazing. Can't remember his name. One of the presidents. I'll remember later. Woodrow Wilson. That was him. Wow. Good grief. Amazing. Amazing. Let's have a look at this. Let's see what. So John Pitzer said, was wondering why anti-BSV Vitro was so silent today. Didn't realise the Civil War had begun already. All the gutter snipers had targeted their Simply Poo flinging machines at each other. Divide and conquer themselves. Imagine thinking transactions could ever be spam in real Bitcoin. Yeah, what, genuine Bitcoin? It has what's left of their brains in knots. Luke Trash Jr. is inflating himself up so much gangrenous internal gas. He supposedly compared himself to the real Bitcoin BSV. What is this all about then? What was that?
What a maroon.
Alright. So Jason Hughes said 52 days. That's all it took for a non-Bitcoin project to co-opt Bitcoin Core's development and direction. If that doesn't terrify you, it should. If such an insignificant shitcoin entity can shift a Bitcoin Core's development so easily with so little influence, despite massive community pushback, imagine what will happen when more powerful folks learn how easy it is to derail Bitcoin Core's development. A bit late for that, mate. It's already happened years ago. 2017. He said 52 days ago, Bitcoin Core development at least pretended to have principles. 52 days ago, Bitcoin still had a shot at becoming the best money with Bitcoin Core as the reference implementation. 52 days ago, Bitcoin users still thought they had a say in Bitcoin Core development. Look, they still thought they had a say. That's hilarious. 52 days ago, Bitcoin felt unstoppable. Today, with the merge of 32406, Bitcoin Core decided it wanted none of that. Use Bitcoiners. We are the shitcoin now. Welcome to Shitcoin Cruise Lines from Bitcoiners. This is your captain speaking. The Bitcoin Core Collective Corporation, complete with public market branch, brought to you today by sponsored Shitcoin of the Day. Oh, that water wasn't flooding the deck one by one. Just ignore that part of ongoing improvements. That's in like as in it's sinking. The question is, do we just go down with the ship, or do we throw the people drilling holes in the boat overboard and still try to save it? Personally, I'm out of energy on this fight. It's up to Bitcoin users to take a stand against the nonsense and prevent Bitcoin Core from killing Bitcoin. If the users can't do that, then we're lost anyway, so what's the point? If users can't do that, then we're never serious about fixing money in the first place. That's hilarious, because I've also seen, what's his name? Bitcoin Mechanic weighing in on this. Honestly, it's shitcoin is shit for brains. They have literally no idea what's going on, like none. I think I actually posted on that. Check this out. Dead Joe says, if you leave your children a world where you never stood up, they'll inherit one where they can't. And that's what's happening at the moment. Oh, here we go. Check this one out. So this is big. He calls himself Bitcoin Mechanic. He said, the situation with Bitcoin development is so much worse than I could discuss publicly. People telling me things in confidence, and I have to respect that, and you'll just have to take my word for it. It's completely out of control. No shit, Sherlock. They lost control of it in 2017, and you believed the bullshit. All right, and now this is it. This reminds me of General George Patterson's quote. Saying that, gentlemen, I've come to the conclusion that we fought on the wrong side. He said we should have fought with the fascists, but instead we fought for the communists. And I believe that America will pay a dear price for this in 10 or 15 years and become, corrupt in morals and whatever it was he said. But it's the same people, and this lot fell for their bullshit in the first place, and now they're paying the price for it. Now they're paying the price for it because they've just suddenly realised, oh, hold on a minute, so Bitcoin Core are actually going rogue and going off on their own, and oh shit, they control everything. Duh. That's why the protocol's meant to be fixed. You absolute fools. But the thing is, though, Core are creating discontent amongst their most avid followers, so they're going to jump ship straight away because they're going to realise they've been hoodwinked. They're going to realise they've been hoodwinked real quickly, especially when the transaction volume comes on chain with Terranode, and then miners switch their hash rate. They'll be the first people to come running over because they realise that it's the deep state that's got hold of Bitcoin Core. Dear oh dear. But yeah, there we go. They're gonna. That's called learning the hard way. Yeah. Check this out. Congratulations to Tony. So that he said, yesterday I bought 65.5 Bitcoin. I only need 31.8 to have a 100 BSV 2 days until my 50th birthday. Will I get 100 BSV? So he's asking people to donate there. But look at that, 68. That is epic. That is epic. So if... Oh, what's this? I was speechless. I just want to say thank you. And 1,000 thanks. I have 100 BSV. So somebody has donated 31.8. Oh, congratulations. Congratulations. That is epic. That is epic. Right, we'll just give a few claps for that. And we'll retweet that with a celebration there. I think it's down here somewhere. It's in sports. Oh, I just missed it. There we go. Wow, epic. Epic. Look at that. 31 Bitcoin. That is great. That is great. Well, says Truth Machine said Calvin Air supports a pardon from Bitcoin BSV delister CZ. What's this? 12th of August 2025. Calvin here says reports say Binance founder CZ is in line for a pardon. seems appropriate. The man did his time, and Trump has so dramatically reconfigured the financial world order that it's worth reappraising a lot of events in this space. Pardon is definitely in order. So what's he saying? Kavanaugh supports pardon from... Oh, right, so he's supporting it from the BSV delister. Well, I think there's probably... sounds like there's a little bit of sarcasm in there. Yeah. But that's chuffed to bits with somebody getting 100 BSV. Wow, that is epic. That is epic. We've got Coinbase's advert that I went through the other day. Like, honestly... Dear oh dear. I haven't looked into this yet, but that's because I only just got back yesterday. So anyway. Right, let's move on to this article from Revolution to Rations. How Labour became the socialist pigs. Labour promised a fairer Britain. Now they're building the fence, tightening the gate, and wearing the suits of the regime they replaced. I mean, again, same people. Core hijacked Bitcoin. They create, General Patterson realised after they'd finished World War II, now, they're in control of the government. They've got control of Labour. People are starting to wake up to it. We're in a dangerous position here. So they said the Animal Farm parallels are so glaring that you almost wonder if Labour is leaning into them subconsciously. Orwell's pigs started as idealists, then justified bending the rules for the greater good, then rewrote the rules to protect themselves, and finally became indistinguishable from the humans they replaced. That's what's going on. Forward. George Orwell's Animal Farm, released in 1945, was not a satire of the right, but a warning to the left that revelations can decay into the very opposition they set out to overthrow. The socialist pigs who once preached equality ended up walking on two legs, dining with the humans and rewriting the rules to suit themselves. They deflected criticism not by answering it, but by rebranding it as treachery and equating any challenge to their conduct with the attack on the revolution itself. That's exactly what's going on. Orwell's pigs were meant for Stalin, but in 2025 the snouts fit Starmer. Over the past year, Labour has wrapped its governance in the language of safety, modernisation and fairness, while dismantling legitimate dissent as far right or extremist. Behind the rhetoric, post by post, the fences are being tightened, protests restricted, speech policed, finances tracked, homes entered without warrants, and the law bent to convenience. No trumpet will sound when the gates close, only the quiet certainty that those who close them now hold the keys. Absolutely. A government without friends. Labour governments with a peculiarly fragile mandate. Muslim voters distrust it over the grooming gang scandal and the arrest of Palestine Action activists and its refusal to confront Israel over Gaza. The progressive left shares that fury, seeing the same stance on Israel and moral collapse compounded by Labour's embrace of corporate orthodoxy and its silence on economic inequality. The working class feels abandoned on migration, taxation and the cost of living. Public sector workers, doctors, teachers, nurses are locked in constant disputes over pay and conditions. Binmen, once emblematic of Labour's working class base, have staged strikes across Labour-run councils over stagnant wages and worsening terms, often against a backdrop of financial collapse as more Labour councils edge towards bankruptcy. Landlords and small business owners face ever tighter compliance and tax regimes. The self-employed recent quarterly reporting mandates and HMRC surveillance. Farmers have seen agricultural support dwindle. Motorists are hit with green levies and punitive road use schemes. Pensioners find themselves in the dock and view the party as culturally hostile. This is a government surrounded by distrust, yet Labour responds to criticism not with introspectors, but with the reflex of Orwell's pigs, portraying dissent as an attack on the values they claim to embody. Concerns about migration are branded far right. Criticism of policing is undermining safety. Questioning double standards in law is fuel for extremists. In the novel, this was the moment the pigs began to resemble the humans they replaced. This is amazing. This is spot on. Hypocrisy, sleaze and socialist pigs at the trough. Even as Labour's rails against the sleaze and excess of its predecessors, it is steadily building a record of its own, one that sits uneasy with its rhetoric of fairness and transparency, and which would not look out of place in the middle chapters of Animal Farm. Football matches, cricket pitches, horse racing hospitality, theatre tickets, wardrobe upgrades, cash for access and corporate hospitality, personal gifts, taking money from political awkward sources, hospitality from industries that Labour is supposed to regulate, accommodation for family use, and sidling back to Brussels. Yeah, sliding back to Brussels. These socialist pigs have not simply wandered near the trough, they are feeding from it. The only difference between them and the humans they replace is the colour of the rosette. Each year in office, the suits fit a little better, the champagne toast lasts a little bit longer, and the surveillance apparatus grows a little tighter. And when challenged, they reach for the same trick, all well described, casting criticism of the pigs as criticism of the revolution. In Labour's hands, it becomes branding all dissent as far-right extremists or dangerous. The question is never whether the fence is closing, but why would you want it to open in the first place? Labour's authoritarian measures. The pigs in Animal Farm never announced we are becoming humans. They made small adjustments, each one explained as necessary, until the animals barely noticed how much had changed. Labour's new powers follow the same rhythm, each presented as a simple matter of safety, modernisation or efficiency, yet each driving the fence post deeper. Policing the speech and thought, arrests for online posts including tweets now extend to those accused of causing distress. A standard so elastic it can stretch to fit any dissent, and the government any dissent the government finds inconvenient, like the pigs banning beasts of England from the farms for the farm's own good. Labour insists it's only silencing dangerous ideas, but the effect is the same. Protest by permission only. Expanded police powers mean demonstrations can be curtailed if they cause serious disruption. A turn left deliberately vague. Pro-Palestinian marches and immigration protests alike can be restricted or dispersed. The pigs once claimed the hens protests threatened egg production. Labour claims these threaten public order. Surveillance of finances. Banks will be required to collect national insurance numbers, allowing the state to track accounts directly to tax records. Combined with tighter anti-money laundering rules, this creates a permanent ledger for the population's earnings and movements, the financial equivalent of keeping all the animals rationed under lock and key in the barn. Digital leash on the self-employed. The new quarterly reporting requirement forces small businesses and freelancers to submit digital income and expenditure records 4 times a year. Orwell's pigs would have called it transparency. In practice, it keeps the small traders permanently tethered to HMRC's watchtower. Home entry without a warrant. Labour has expanded certain powers for officials to enter homes without prior judicial approval. That is fucking outrageous, but I've seen it done. A power the pigs would have used to inspect for safety while checking loyalty. Reclassification of activist groups as terrorists. Activist groups like Palestine Action have found themselves threatened as national security, treated as national security threats. It mirrors the pigs' habits of declaring any rival faction to be in league with Snowball, a convenient label to remove opponents without engaging their arguments. Mass arrests on elderly protesters during a London protest opposing the proscription of Palestine Action. A total of 332 people were arrested. Notably, about half of those arrested were 60 years old or older, with nearly 100 in their 70s and around 15 in their 80s. An unnerving reminder that even those once seen as elder statesfolk are not immune to the pigs' new rules. Embedding surveillance in everyday life, from facial recognition trials in public spaces to expanded data sharing between agencies. Labour is turning Britain into a farm where the watchtower is always manned and the lantern never goes out. From ideals to instruments, authoritarian drift is rarely born from malice. More often, it grows from a mix of ambition, convenience, and the corruption of power. Labour arrived in government promising competence and stability, but like Orwell's socialist pigs, it quickly discovered the use of the tools it inherited. Speech regulation, protest control, financial surveillance, all can be presented as a modern, responsible governance. Each can be justified as protection, efficiency, or fairness, and once in place, each offers a lever over public behaviour. For a party with a paper-thin base of loyalty, the existence of such levers is not just useful, it is comforting. And here the transformation accelerates. In Animal Farm, the pigs reframe every power grab as a necessity to defend the farm from its enemies, until their words are indistinguishable from the humans in the farmhouse. Labour does the same, recasting its own critics as enemies of the public good. Protest restrictions are protecting communities. Speech controls are stopping them. are stopping harm. Surveillance is tackling crime. Every measure is dressed as a noble necessity, and if you oppose it, you must oppose the value Labour claims to champion. Looking through the window, authoritarianism does not arrive fully formed. It assembles itself slowly through practical measures justified as temporary necessities. Each is easy to explain away in isolation. A new power to police speech here, a modest tightening of financial oversight there. But together they form the framework of a government that governs by compulsion, not consent. Labour's measures are not the theatrical authoritarianism of the past. They are the instruments of administrative control, surveillance embedded in banks' rules, protests restricted by regulation, dissent reframed as extremism, financial autonomy eroded in the name of compliance. The fence is closing. What makes this moment dangerous is not just the scope of the powers being claimed, but the brittleness of the government claiming them. A party estranged from nearly every major demographic, propped up by a habit of fear and of alternatives, will always be tempted to secure itself by means other than persuasion. And once built, the machinery of control does not vanish when the cabinet changes hands. It becomes the inheritance of whoever comes next, perhaps someone more willing to use it without restraint. In Orwell's Animal Farm, the socialist pigs began as the revolutionaries, promising equality and liberation. By the end, they were walking on two legs, wearing human clothes, and making deals with the very powers they had once denounced. They dismissed criticism not as a challenge to their conduct, but as a betrayal of the farm itself. In the final scene, the animals could no longer tell the pigs from the humans. Labour has not just followed that arc, it's accelerating it. They came to power denouncing conservative sleaze, yet now wear the same political suit, drink from the same troughs, flirt again with the EU, and offer the same evasions. Evasions. The only difference is that they are fitting the country with a tighter fence and a stronger lock. In 1945, Orwell meant this as a warning about the corrupting tendency of power. In 2025, it reads uncomfortably like the evening news. Which is why the answer is not to wait for the other half of the duopoly to return in different colour ties. Britain needs a new political tradition, one that begins with defining and defending what the country is, insists on equality under the law, and refuses to govern by fear. The old parties have their turn now. A new party must step forward. We do not yet know its name, its colours, or its champions, but we know the test it must pass. It will not be enough to speak well or to shout loud. It must govern with competence, and it must hold its powers with clean hands. For after Labour's turn as the socialist pigs, the bar from the honeyest and restraint from the honesty and restraint will not be set by its rivals, but by the public's wary and watchful eye. Whoever steps forward will find themselves on trial from the first day, and this time the verdict will come swiftly. Well, that's if there is another pie that gets in, because I mean honestly, that really is quite scary, because that's exactly what's going on. It's exactly what's going on. What a fantastic article that was. Really good one. Really good one. Gonna use that as my thumbnail. Fantastic. Alright, let's have a quick look at the figures, because the only way out of this is by moving out of their jurisdiction, and this is what Bitcoin allows, which is why they're trying to stop it. So CoinDot saying transactions 34%, block size 81. Got some fairly decent blocks coming through there. What, 44, 21, 16, 21, 13, 15, 17, 21, 64. Biggest block in there. More data in that one block than there is in the entire column of Gregcoin. 86,000 times cheaper to transact on Bitcoin than Gregcoin. Mining Bitcoin at a 29.5% comparable loss. Mining pool. So Gregcoin miners, other miners, 10% on there. Bcrash, other miners, 9%. Fisher Price Cash, other miners, 45%. And again, CoinDot's not reporting the figures correctly for Bitcoin. Let's check out the Tether weather. Look at this. So money has gone from Tether has gone from 159.4 billion to 164.6 billion. So 5 billion. 5 billion in a month. More than $1 billion a week. It's gone up in that month. They're getting desperate. Getting really desperate. Let's see what's done in the year. So from the year it's gone from 115 to 164. Jeepers. 50 billion. There's something close to that. 50 billion in a year. 50 billion. Where's that come from? They just made it up. God, 50 billion in a year. There's only 365 days in a year. Jeepers. That is crazy. Right, let's have a look at see what money's doing. Loving this. So in the month, money has gone from 34.2 to 44. And that's all right when you consider that this thing is literally just started. But look at the increase in the in money there. That is great. That is backed 1-to-1, and it's on the genuine Bitcoin network where data can't be cracked, hacked, altered, changed, or deleted, or stopped, or censored. So that's where you really want your money, in real money, or digital currency that can't be deleted or stopped. So, you know, when CBDCs come in, which, you know, they're pushing so hard to do, you need to give your CBDC to, you know, money, and they'll convert it into dollars for you. That's the way it's going to go. All right, let's have a quick look at the exchanges here. It looks like the biggest exchange by far is actually Upbit. They got $21 million 24-hour trade volume. 21 million. I think the entire 24-hour trade volume is like 34 million. Let's have a look at this. Volume, look, 31 million. So the 24-hour trade volume of BSV in total is 31 million, and Upbit has got 21 million of that. Whoa. It's like over 66%. Jeepers. Like closing in on 70% just in South Korea. That is fascinating. That's a figure I've not noticed before. Wow. All right, let's look at Huobi then. 24-hour trade volume 11.3 million. Hold on. So this can't be right. So if Upbit has got a 24-hour trade volume of 21 million, and Huobi saying they've got a 24-hour trade volume of 11 million, that pretty much already takes us past the 34 million. And then we've also got this CoinDCX. That's actually 11.3 million on there as well. So I think they're just copying they're getting the numbers from other exchanges. But that's interesting that Upbit is different there. That's like BTCC. They're saying they got 24-hour trade volume of 4.3 million on there. Digifinex, 24-hour trade volume 3.12 million. Right. Interesting. Let's have a look at the price there. So 29.8. Look at that. That's all right. So we've been doing well since the 2nd of August. Let's have a look at Bitcoin versus Gregcoin. Oh, winning as well since the 6th of August. Been going up for the last 6 days against the big dog. Let's see what that looks like on DXS. Yeah, been going up against the big dog since the 6th of August. They're not going to be happy with that. That's why they'll be pumping billions into Tether to try and cover the trading margin. Wow, amazing. The battle royale is about to start. I think that's what it feels like. That's what it looks like. Whew. Wow. Let's see what happens then. All right. So overall, it's touched $4 trillion. This is a new record. I don't think I've ever seen it at $4 trillion. Look at that. Overall market cap just surpassed $4 trillion. A $4 trillion fraud. That is huge. That's huge. Let's have a look at Gregcoin here. Look, 24-hour trade volume, just 1.8. There's nothing there. There's literally nothing there. The 24-hour trade volume is 1.8. It should be around 5% for a healthy market. But literally just 1.82. Only $43 billion 24-hour trade volume. And a lot of that is probably made up, I suspect. Wow. Wow. Looks like Ethereum's at 4,000. Oh, is that almost a new all-time high is $4,800 for Ethereum. XRP stuck at 3.2. Look at all that. Look at that market, completely manipulated. Look, if you go through them, how can you say they don't look similar? Look, they've all got that little uptick, you know, but then suddenly you get another manager managing a different set of coins. Honestly, absolutely ridiculous. And Bitcoin at number 99. There we go. Look, volume 5.4. That's a healthy market there. 24-hour trade volume is 31 million though. Absolutely tiny. Teeny tiny. According to Live Coin Watch, CoinDCX is leading it with $11 million 24-hour trade volume, just ahead of Huobi. But Upbit's not listed there. So, again, you know, take these with a pinch of salt, I guess, really, is what it means. Qcoin leading in liquidity. Where's that come from all of a sudden? CoinDCX down there. Yeah, very, very strange. Anyway, that's 365 days of Bitcoin history. It's the 12th today, so all we've got is this little quote here from Satoshi Nakamoto saying BSD detection. He said there is a piece of code in the header. He said that code was a bad idea anyway. I'm deleting it. Any Mac code should only use WXMac OXS, not WXMac or WXOSX. And we should stop using BDS. That will definitely cause BDS to be defined on Mac. There we go. That's a little bit. 365 days of Bitcoin history. But check this out. It is the 12th of August, which means we've just got 37 days left of the Kellenschweller countdown. There are going to be so much shenanigans between now and the end of this. Hit that subscribe button. You're not going to want to miss this. It is going to be absolutely epic. So until then, be aware, take care, stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.
The king still has one more move.